Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. My name is Machiny90, artist, German, and illustrator. Welcome you to another commentary video here on the Machiny Draws channel. Hope you all are doing well. So, Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. A very beloved remake of a beloved title, of a beloved franchise. However, this specific title has been marred in controversy regarding some of the censorship that has been going on within the game, and that has definitely stirred up a conversation within the gaming community, within the gaming space as a whole. What's even more alarming and why I want to make this video is regarding the situation with Square-Enix trying to memory hole this. Essentially, the creators have spoke out, and now Square and basically everyone involved is trying to damage control and say, you know, this didn't happen and all that stuff, and because they know that, you know, the creators speaking out is probably making them look bad, which it's not really that hard to do, because considering Square Enix has had a, you know, they haven't had a very strong year as of late, and their reputation has definitely taken some hits recently as well. But there's a lot to cover and there's a lot to go over, so I'm going to try to be as clear and concise as possible. If I apologize for stuttering, anything like that, I'm going to be citing from a couple of articles as well as a few tweet threads kind of breaking down this whole thing. And the point is just kind of ask you guys, what is your thoughts on the entire situation at hand? Regardless if you support the game or not, it really is, the choice is up to you. What I want to do is just provide you guys with just kind of the information just from the stuff that we've gathered over this past day or so at the time of this recording. So if you guys can, smack that like button, make it jiggle, and smack that subscribe button, make it jiggle. And where we're going to start off with is, we're going to start off with Niche Gamer. This is coming from 5 days ago at the time of this recording, and this essentially is a full breakdown of the Dragon Quest III, you know, censorship debacle and just kind of the creator's takes. By the way, the video has been taken from YouTube, and the original poster of it has also issued an apology for a mistranslation of one word from that. We're going to get onto this, but we're going to start with just kind of a breakdown from Niche Gamer, essentially. The new interview from Tokyo Game Show has revealed that Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii isn't happy with the censorship of Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, among other changes made to the remake. The interview was held with both former Shonen Jump editor-in-chief Kazuhiko Torishima, who has also had a big role in the creation of Dragon Quest, and creator Yuji Horii, taking up the game with Japanese outlet Defamico Gamer. With the topic of censorship has brought up, both revealed that they were unhappy with the changes. Quote, "There are so many restrictions for exposed skin," Horii said with the censorship that was brought up. The interview, a woman saying, replied that it's fiction. That I think it's fine that you just go into the story and become the main character. Both the interviewer and Horii then questioned why the original costumes were a concern. The interviewer then said, "It's fiction, it's a fictional experience, so as long as it's enjoyable, it's fine." Horii then followed up by noting, if there's more exposure, then the age rating has to go up. This means that we can't sell it for all ages. Another male interviewer noted rules vary by country and when trying to sell globally. The issue of compliance comes with the strictest regulations, to which the other female interviewer said, "We never thought about this in the past." Torishima replied with, "Compliance is like an all-powerful god. It is something that is using the name of good in the name of good, but is actually bad. But it's impossible that every single person doesn't feel uncomfortable. It's fine to feel uncomfortable, both beautiful and ugly, good and evil. It depends on the person. It's fine as long as it doesn't do with what you're allowed to do," Torishima said. In Western countries, there's a root of thinking that based on religion influences their sex education, right? Their attitude to compliance is really narrow-minded. Torishima also discussed selling the manga in the past. When selling manga in America and the West, everything had to be categorized by age group. With Shonen Jump, they could not be sold unless they were rated 13 and older, because there's a risk of lawsuits and they need to have insurance. Doing business with a ridiculous country like this is such a hassle, he said. Coming from this, Japan gets negatively influenced as well. And we kind of have seen that a couple times before. We have definitely seen a few instances of that in the past as well. So he's definitely preaching to the choir on that. Later in the interview, the controversial change to remove the gender language was brought up, in which the game removed male and female pronouns and replaced them with body type A or body type B is what we call them, or type 1 and type 2 in the game, or appearance A or appearance B, which is still just comes off as kind of weird in my opinion. The original versions of the game, the player was able to choose between male or female gender of the protagonist hero, though its remake has removed the gender language to keep visibility of distinct body types, which is very, very interesting. Very interesting. However, this one is more of a Clips Notes that I took from watching Neon over at Clownfish TV's video. If you guys don't subscribe to Clownfish TV, do so. They are a absolute wonderful channel. But this is coming from Eldemark over on Twitter, who put basically a Clips Notes of this entire thing. The last living member of the three-person team that created Dragon Quest, Yuji Horii, and of course, the late, great Akira Toriyama's good friend and Dragon Ball's editor, who was also the editor-in-chief of Shonen Jump for decades, were interviewed at the Tokyo Game Show. During this interview, they were asked about the censorship of Dragon Quest III by the interviewer DJ Nas Chris. Apparently, Horii and Torishima do a radio show in Japan. I do not know if she worked with them on that. In response, Torishima complained about the censorship of Toriyama's female warrior design and expressed his frustration with American puritanical views and how difficult publishing the Jump, even in Japan, has become because of it. The design of female warrior has changed to give her sweat-stained gym shorts with plate mail bikinis she wears in the original design, which is likely a parody of Boris Vallejo's legendary fantasy art, which was popular in the West at the time and frequently included chainmail bikinis. Yuji Horii commented that they had to rename male and female as Type A and Type B, respectively, expressing bewilderment at the change. User SAOU0345 uploaded a clip of this with subtitles. It went viral, particularly because of the anti-woke or conservative sphere in the West. Oh my god. Approximately 10 hours ago, the woman who performed the interview had posted complaining about the clip and how bad it's gone viral in the US. Sorry, I'm a little close to my mic. My apologies. At the same time, Sao0345 deleted the entire Twitter timeline and posted an apology that has been drafted by a lawyer. This is where we're going to go into from Automaton. This is from Amber V over at Automaton. Just want to give them a shout out and check out their site for especially Eastern gaming news as well. I think they're a really good outlet. Yuji Horii's comments on Dragon Quest III censorship were mistranslated and maliciously taken out of context, according to a statement by his group. In the official X account of Koso Hosho Kyoku, the radio show hosted by Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii and former Shonen Jump editor Kazuhiko Torishima published a statement on October 3rd addressing the controversy surrounding recently aired talk show. According to the statement, comments made by Horii and other participants were mistranslated and sensationalized by overseas media and social media users such as Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter, X, or formerly known as Twitter. The program in question is the creator's talk show hosted during the Tokyo Game Show 2024 and uploaded to YouTube earlier this week. This 90-minute long discussion, now unpublished because it was taken down, originally unavailable only in Japan, but a 2-minute excerpt was posted on X with English subtitles provided by a third party. And that third party turned out to be Value News, who was publishing that specific excerpt on Twitter, and that specific excerpt was posted all over to YouTube. And that's where the problem is, because it was then soon taken down. Value News had to take that down and offer an apology, in which we will get into that. The post containing Horii and the other speakers' comments regarding the changes made to Dragon Quest III's remake quickly gained traction and was picked up by the media. As Koso Kyoku later reported, even Elon Musk reposted the video. The post that Musk shared to his followers, including the headline, "Japanese game developers are frustrated at the forced ridiculous UN-driven globalist agenda compliance that they have to include in their game." That's a That is a mouthful right there. That is an absolute mouthful. In response to the resulting uproar, they share the following. On the afternoon of September 30th, Japan time, Mr. Musk reposted a video with English subtitles mistranslated of a program in which some of our members appeared. This following statement and a request from the talk show's participants regarding the reposted video related media reports. Attached is a statement that gives off specific examples of mistranslations, such as Puritan being translated as sex education, and alleges that parts of the comments made by the speakers have been deliberately cut out of context and quoted as if the speaker was expressing a negative opinion against a certain ideology or belief, and has been spread in a way that is far removed from the true meaning of the comments in the original context of the video in question. In the statement, Koso Kyoku also asked social media users and media to refrain from arbitrarily extracting parts of their comments and quoting them as comments are in line with your own valued opinion for the purpose of reinforcing legitimacy of your own opinion. Unfortunately, that is, you're way too late on that one, because once it goes out on the internet, it's forever, and people are going to use that to form their own opinion, to legitimize their own opinions as well. This is coming from Value News. Was translated here. Quote, I would like to sincerely apologize for the incorrect English subtitles created for Mr. Kazuhiko Torishima's statement. In the scene where he mentioned Puritan, it was mistakenly translated as sex education. The error was due to my mishearing, and I deeply apologize for the inconvenience caused by all parties involved. Now, here's where the problem lies. Because if it's one word, because really it's the problem, it's the mistranslation of one word, and then what everybody was doing is that they started scrubbing the video from the internet instead of just making that one correction and maybe just reposting it with the proper translation. But no, they're just trying to scrub this off the internet and trying to, why did you do that? Sorry. Trying to scrub this off the internet and trying to memory hold this whole thing like it never happened. And that's the weird part, because there's some suspect that Square-Enix might be involved with all of this, and because they probably see this as bad, PR right now. Going back to the tweet thread. At the same time, the Japanese publisher handled the interview, posted a statement claiming that the clip was 2 minutes of a 6-hour stream, and accusing the translation of being invalid as the user localized the divisive method of American sex education as puritanical. At the same time, the original Japanese stream on YouTube was set to private, and the original Japanese stream from Nico Nico was set to private. That's the state of play right now. My theory is that someone reached out to Square Enix marketing and asked if they had any comment on Horii being cited by conservatives in America at all, which would have led to Square Enix legal getting involved immediately. And that is the end of the thread. This I find alarming, to say the least. I know I said that before, but it seems that the creator did speak out and they did say their opinions on this, but everybody's trying to say that, it's taken out of context, it's trying to memory hold this, trying to scrub this, but it's like the internet is forever. You can't scrub this away. However, what the creator said is what a lot of people are kind of feeling in regards to these censorship claims. And I know that Dragon Quest has a history of censorship, art and such like that, censorship over the years. But this one, the problem is that I get the sense that Square Enix was ones who called them up and told them, hey, take this down, take this out. Please, this does not make us look good already. Our reputation is not as strong as it used to be, and this isn't helping. So can you guys please tell people that, hey, this was mistranslated, call these people up, reach out to the people who posted these videos, and, ask them to take this down. Ask them to put a statement to say, hey, this was taken out of context. This was, clearly, there's a blight with regards to the people who are speaking out about this. And what's even more weirder is the people who are defending, who are going after the original creator for speaking out about this. And this is what I find pretty alarming. if you scour through Twitter and even so Reddit, as Rev and both Hero Hey pointed out, some of the comments have been, put to say, there seems to be some animosity towards the creators speaking out about this, and I just find all of this weird. I find completely all this weird, and it feels like Square-Enix had some kind of involvement in this, not letting pretty much the last of the original three creators, the last living member of the three-person team that created Dragon Quest, Yuji Horii, not allow him to actually speak out on what he wants to say regarding the censorship and having to, comply to specifically American sensibilities. And that's, with the whole Western sensibilities, I've spoken out beforehand. We've seen this with many other games, and we've seen this with Sony having a history of censoring Japanese titles for Western sensibilities. We've seen all this whole thing is that, a lot of these developers, a lot of these publishers, studios, especially from the East, think that, the West, like what this whole thing that what we're seeing from the West with regards to politics, in regards to, politics and agendas and such like that, that they have to cater to this, quote unquote, global audience or quote unquote modern audience sensibilities. Like they think that the West does not have, that we're not capable of handling, bikini armor without having to be clothed up. They can't be able to handle these kind of themes and such like that when we're more than capable of doing so. It's just, from a lot of people see, it's just that loud vocal part that is trying to think that they can speak for everyone else, that they can speak for the entire the West. As a Westerner, I have been in the forefront in saying, screw these Western sensibilities. Part of the reason why me personally, why I love, Asian content, especially from Japan, is because it is content from a different region in the world, from a different place in the world, whose sensibilities are way different than ours are, and that's what we find so fascinating. That's what we find so interesting. That's what we love about it. Whenever something is brought out over to the Western side, what I want is just to see it in as its creator's intent, as its true intention. You want to put the ratings on here, fine, but what's the point of it feels like you're just trying to censor, even with, and that's the thing with mature games. People are still trying to even stuff is still getting censored, even the stuff is rated M for mature. Even in older times, like thinking that the West they can't handle these sensibilities, can't handle these these sexualized themes and such like that. And it's like, no, it's like we're more than capable. It's just like you're pandering to, the loud group. You can say whatever you want. You can say the ESG, DI, whatever the hell you guys want to call it. But, a good portion of, the West is able to handle these. And they don't have, and I can guarantee you that a lot of people wouldn't have a problem with this. It's just what I find truly bothering, and what I find truly just kind of concerning, is that Square-Enix is trying to memory hold this whole thing now. And this isn't helping Square-Enix at all, because they've already been under fire they've already taken some hits on their reputation beforehand, and this ain't helping. This is almost like the same thing we're seeing with Capcom, having this take with censorship and such like that. And that's what I find just absolute perplexing about this. It's like, okay, so you have one part of the Eastern market that is like having to change and comply with Western sensibilities, but then you have other sides of the Eastern market that you think would be, applying with having to comply with Western sensibilities and stuff like that, releasing their stuff in full without any issue, and just being openly honest about, say their character designs, say their themes and such like that. I do find it weird. I do find it weird that it's like, because we cite the, there have been so many great games coming from the East lately, such as Stellar Blade, Black Myth Wukong, even on multiplayer front with the First Ascendant, even the gacha games and such like that, coming from, Korea and China, because they're kind of kind of picking up the ball where Japan is kind of dropping. But it's so incredibly weird about it, though, that Japan has to do all this censorship, has to make all these changes to their games, and it's weird that the people who have been, the companies, say like the Capcoms and Square Enix, who have been, you know, much more open, having to deal with the censorship on the Nintendo front, but being able to be more open about it on other consoles, now it seems that they're the ones who are having to be conscious and have to put this global audience in mind, have to put this global, you know, have to put this modern audience in mind, have to put all these Western sensibilities in mind. And what we're seeing is that it's stifling creativity. I think it's stifling. I legitimately think that it's stifling creativity. I legitimately think that it's, in this case, it's preventing creators from wanting to actually speak up and voice their concerns about. Regardless if it's, you know, and I know it's going to be taken out of, people are saying it's taken out of, they're saying it's taken out of context and such like that, but, you know, I can't help but feel that Square Enix was behind the scenes telling these people, you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to appeal to these blue-haired people in the West, you have to apply to this political ideology, you have to put body type A, body type B everywhere. And it's like, no, that's not what, that's not the majority of the West. Like, these kind of types, these vocal people who are complaining about all this, it's like, no, they don't speak for you and me. They don't speak for the West. They don't speak for the entirety of the Western market and such like that. And I will apply that to both sides on that front as well, regardless if it's like Democrat, conservative, whatever. You know, it's just this. It's weird, and it's just weird, and it's alarming. And I think that, you know, moving forward, Square Enix might be put even under a bigger microscope regarding future titles and such like that, because for me personally, I'm going to be aware about wanting to get interested in anything made from Square moving forward. Because is it going to be that same case where it's like, is it going to be another remake where they're just going to have to make all these changes and such like that? They're going to have to modernize it, try to appeal to this, you know, this modern audience, which I think is a complete lie. And is this just going to be more hurting them in the sales? Is this going to be more, is a situation like this going to be hurting them in the long run? And I think that with this, I think that this entire situation regarding Dragon Quest III censorship and just trying to memory hole, you know, Horii's comments about this, one of the original creators of Dragon Quest, I think it's something that Square probably won't be able to live down, especially when you're, and I feel this personally, disrespecting Toriyama's original creations and such like that. And we've seen that a lot lately. We've seen that a lot ever since his passing. It's just a weird time that we're in. And so it's just so weird what's going on right now. So I ask you guys in chat, I ask you guys watching the video, you know, what do you all make of this? Are you still gonna get the game regardless? Is this censorship situation kind of putting you off? Is the original creator's intent putting you off? Is it preventing you to still want to play the game? Are you going to wait for a discount? Because it's just it's an interesting time that we're in right now, and something like this probably shouldn't be memory hold, and something like this should probably be more examined and put under a microscope, because clearly there's some higher powers behind this, and clearly Square is behind this. I can't see it any other way. And regardless of how much they try to scrub any of this off the internet is forever. People are going to have backups of this all over the place. And it's not going to be shared publicly. It's going to be shared privately. It's going to be shared in conversations. It's going to be shared in messages. You know, I have a good feeling that even regardless of if you support, if you're gonna buy the remake or not gonna buy the remake, this situation is gonna be fresh in your mind moving forward with Square Enix, and because I know it's gonna be fresh in my mind with it too. I've watched many creators who have just felt like they've been stabbed in the back with a Square Enix and this company lately, and they haven't had a strong year as much so as well. So I'll leave it up to you guys in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Let's have a discussion going. Do you guys agree with this? Do you guys disagree with this? Do you even think that the original creator is one of the bad guys from WWE 2 for speaking out about this? Let me know in the comments, because this is an interesting discussion. And while you're at it, if you guys can, smack that like button, make it jiggle, smack that subscribe button, make it jiggle as well. As always, big thank you to everyone in the Cute, Sexy, and Fun Nation. If you guys see your name on the screen, I really appreciate all your support. And if you guys want to see your name on the screen, join the channel. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive art drops that I do every 2 months in the form of the art batches, and there's plenty of goodies on the way as well. But I'm gonna get out of here. As always, I'm Machine90, Artist Sherman Illustrated, and I'll see you all next time for another video. So until then, stay cute, stay sexy, have fun. Never, under any circumstance, apologize for wanting attractive women in your media, especially in your video games, because I feel like that's more apparent now than ever as the year goes on. And above all else, never stop drawing.